Hello there, my name is Dan, thank you for joining me, and today I am reviewing the Snow Peak Trek 700 milliliter cooking pot. Now this is my main cooking pot and I use it exclusively for boiling water. I do not actually cook in this and I'll talk about why later. So let's dive into some of the features and specs and the pros and cons and overall whether or not I actually like this Snow Peak pot. Now the pot itself is made out of titanium, so it's very light. However, the lid is not. I believe it's made out of aluminum because it's not magnetic. And you can just feel it's a bit thicker and kind of heavier than the pot itself. So titanium pot, aluminum lid. And the lid has a little grab handle that you can hang on to and even stow it on the side of the pot. Kind of nifty. And it does have a spout on it as well. And it has these two little hooks that kind of go into the front of the pot and keep the lid a bit more secure. On the inside, it has these little measurement markings. You might not be able to see, but you can see them here on the outside. So they have both ounces and what is that? Ounces and milliliters. Milliliters, yes. And it has two little handles that fold down completely flat. And it comes with this little mesh storage bag. Aha! And overall, this is a pretty great size for pretty much any stove. I tend to use my little homemade alcohol stove, and it fits on top of there just fine. But really, any kind of like a white gas canister stove or anything else will work just fine for this. And like I mentioned, this is a 700 milliliter pot, and it is big enough to store everything that I put inside of it. So I have my alcohol stove rolled up in this windscreen. That fits just fine. And a little 4-ounce fuel bottle. So all that stuff fits inside just fine. And you can also fit a 110 gram fuel canister inside of this thing. I don't have one to show you, but I do have a picture that you can take a look at. Thank you, Snow Peak. And the overall weight of this thing is 4.8 ounces, including the lid, and it's currently priced at $45. Now I find that the 700 milliliter pot is a perfect size for solo backpacking, especially if you're like me and you just use it to boil the water. I do that, by the way, mainly because I'm just too lazy to clean up after myself. It's already bad enough that I have to wash my spoon. I just don't feel like washing my pot. So pretty much everything that I do with this is just boiling water. And yes, it is a perfect size for doing that, but it's also a good size if you just want to actually eat directly out of this thing. For couples, it's a great size if you're boiling water. Maybe if you don't mind having to do an extra round of water boiling. But if you're both going to eat out of this thing, I don't know. Depending on how hungry you are, this might be a little small. So as far as what I like about this pot, do I have any? Yes, I do have one, and that is the fact that this is a really appropriate amount of volume for what I'm looking for, and the overall dimensions of the pot itself are really, really perfect for what I need. So it can fit into the side pockets of most packs pretty easily. And yeah, I just don't really want a pot that's really wide or much bigger than this. So yeah, size-wise, absolutely perfect. But that's kind of it as far as what I really like about it. After all, it's just a pot, but there are a few things that I don't like about it. Number one is this lid. I mean, come on. Why isn't it titanium? You can actually buy a separate titanium lid for this pot from Snow Peak for an extra 13 bucks, I believe. But come on, you know, if I'm going to spend almost 50 bucks for what's basically a large cup, then why can't I also have a titanium lid? I just think that's kind of crappy, and would appreciate having the entire thing be titanium. My second dislike is the fact that this lid handle is a little sharp. Not sharp enough where I'm worried about it cutting my finger, but sharp enough where I am a little concerned that it might poke a hole in my pack or some other gear. Since I switched to this Superior Wilderness Designs Frameless 30 pack, I actually don't keep it in the side pocket anymore because I have other stuff in there, and these side pockets just aren't big enough to hold this plus a bunch of other stuff that I like to keep in my side pockets. So I do keep it inside my pack, and I'm a little concerned again about this ripping a hole in my pack. So what I tend to have to do is just take a hat or something else and just wrap the pot in that. I would much rather have it rip a hole in a hat than in my pack. And yeah, the mesh bag does provide a little bit of protection, but not too much. So yeah, I don't like the fact that this is just kind of sharp. And my last and possibly biggest dislike is the fact that nothing on this thing as far as handles are concerned, either on the pot or the handle on the lid, is insulated. So you do need to use something else like a towel or those little silicone grabber handle things to pick this up, because it does get hot enough to burn your fingers when it's on the stove. Typically, I've used like a little mini towel to pick up the pot, and that usually works okay as long as you wet it ahead of time so you don't melt the towel, which I have done before. And I've actually also used put some silicone tubes on here. Just take 2 little silicone tubes, just cut them lengthwise, and then just attach them to these pot handles, and that seems to work really well. I actually happen to lose them, so I don't have them with me right now to show you. But just imagine 2 little silicone tubes on these handles, and that does work okay. But still, nevertheless, I just don't like the fact that I have to, do something else with this pot in order to not burn myself. So ultimately, would I buy the Snow Peak again? No, I wouldn't. The sharp edges and the non-insulated handles and all that stuff is just enough to not make me want to get this thing over again if I had the choice. What I do have my eye set on, though, is the Evernew Titanium Ultralight Deep Pot. So what I like about that one is it has insulated handles all around on the pot and on the lid, and there are no sharp edges whatsoever. And it's a little bit lighter, 3.4 ounces versus 4.8 for the Snow Peak. So that seems like it could have been a much better option for the things that I'm looking for in a pot. There's nothing really fundamentally awful about the Snow Peak, but I just think there are probably better options out there because of those dislikes that I mentioned. So what do you think? Do you have one of the Snow Peaks or one of the Evernews? Do you like this one? Do you like the Evernew? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, stick around another minute for a few bloopers, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, have fun out there. The Snow Peak something. You really want to sit there and watch me put a cooking pot into a bag. Ugh. Not sharp enough where I'm worried. I feel like that's gonna happen a lot. Let's get this crap out of here. Most side pockets, very, oh, come on, really? Get in there!